Good morning and hello. It is I, Sylvia with an I, coming to you live from beautiful Eastbourne by the sea, or anywhere in time and space indeed. I am here on my black and silver and white themed space station, floating high above the everyday and the worries and concerns of all things, and just enjoying being here with you guys today and spending a little time in the other dimensions for a change, which is always most welcome, almost always welcome. Morning, Martin, and good morning, dear Wendy. Happy Easter. Yes, indeed, happy Easter. I am here with my special magic egg for the purposes. This was turned by Martin, and then I did my silver holographic thing with it, as it were. And it's obviously a special magical egg. We can do all sorts of things with that. And perhaps we are going to do something with it, seeing that it is Easter today. But if you're here and listening to this or watching this at a different time, in a different place, then you are very welcome to join in, because the metaphor of the egg for surprises and for new life emerging and new ideas coming forth is, of course, universal, and it's always appropriate at any time of the year. If you're watching on YouTube, please hit the like button, subscribe, leave a comment. It all helps to, as they say, feed the algorithm. Feed the algorithm. I love that. It's funny. Good morning, Lorna, and good morning, Bear. What a fabulous group of people we have here today. This is quite magical, quite magical. Lots of people, I am sure, are running about in their gardens and are looking for eggs and having all sorts of family affairs. And I am very appreciative of the fact that you have taken the time this morning to come and join me here on my space station. It does look like a space station today, and I'm having fun with that. Oh, we have a YouTube video, a YouTube viewer. Hello, YouTube viewer. Be very welcome. And it's lovely to see you here. Okay, so I'll tell you what, because we're here. Ah, Marianne, good morning. Happy Easter to you. Because we're here, and as a special thank you for being here right at the start, why don't we start by just making an Easter wish, and sort of a wish for something that'll take a little while to hatch, but something that you'd like to come into your life. And I'm going to what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a special wish for my lovely people here. Let's start with Martin. A special wish for Martin. I'm not going to say what it is. That's for you, Martin, with lots of love. Okay, turn the egg over. I'm going to make a special wish for Wendy as well. Oh, that's nice. And one for Lorna. Turn the egg over. Oh, very interesting. Yes, that's for you, my dear. And for Bear, and make one for Bear. Ooh. That egg's jumping, Bear. I think there might be something party related going on there. Okay, and quickly, Marianne. Ah, and Wendy. Wendy Stoughton. All right, Wendy. You just snuck in there. One for you. Hmm. All right. Cool. So that was fun. That's raised energy. That's made me see all kinds of things. Yeah, really, the new year doesn't really start until spring is here, sun is shining, birds are singing, and beautiful things are coming our way. And so this morning I thought, I seem to wake up these days. I think my dear energy mind has worked out that we're doing Sunday Live and that I need a topic for Sunday Live. So when I wake up, it seems to be giving me one. Last week it did. This week I got the endless love of learning. Do you guys? uh, do you guys love learning? Some people do and some people don't. It's really true. Some people do and some people don't. I have always been super excited about learning new things. What do you think? What do you reckon? Are you one of these people who love learning, who get excited when there's something new to be learned about something, anything, about your favorite topics? You know, are you actively going out and looking for new information? I have this funny feeling that everyone who's here this morning with me, and everyone, I mean everyone who's here with me this morning, is one of those people who thinks of learning as an adventure, a real adventure. Like getting the ships ready, packing the provisions, and going on this journey into the unknown. And that is, to find something that you don't know yet. That's something that I get super excited about. I mean, I really do. Excuse me. Get so excited I start to cough. Yeah, super, super excited about it. It's like there's adventures of learning in when you're traveling in physical reality. You can go and see this is one of those weird things, right? I don't think it's learning unless you change. Somehow you change. You become more, or you become interested in other things, or you stop doing one thing and you start doing another. I when I think in terms of learning, I think in terms of something that evolves me, that essentially makes me a better person, that will somehow, you know, expand me, evolve me. Luckily, as a modern energist, we have that concept of the living energy body that wants to evolve and that wants to get bigger even as we're getting older and the physical, isn't working so well anymore, but that keeps expanding and expanding. And so this non-physical activity-based adventure of learning and discovery is, well, it gets more precious as you get older, I find. I've just seen something here. Right, Lorna says it's the surprise element. Yes, of course, absolutely, absolutely. I'm here back to my surprise egg. That's the thing, isn't it? The surprise. Give me something I don't know yet. Now, in current discussions and so on and media, they're always talking about the echo chambers, where people just feed each other same opinions back, and it just gets more extreme and more extreme. And I think that people like us who have this lifelong excitement about learning new things, about the surprises, about the potential, the opportunities this brings, that we actually are very unlikely to be getting stuck in echo chambers. I absolutely hate it when people say the same thing over and over and over again, and there's nothing new, there's no surprises, there's no evolution. Yes, there's a certain level of comfort in that, but it is not what makes my heartbeat fonder, what raises my energy, my smile, gets me to smile, gets me to be excited, gets me to look forward to the next day. Ah, yeah, it's just not the same thing, is it? I just love learning. Love it. Absolutely love it. And the thing is, when you go on an adventure of learning of some kind, learning about something, anything, it's not a linear progression from stupid to intelligent or something, or from dumb to wise. It works in threshold shifts. And that's the thing. And that's something that we learned in modern energy, is that you don't ever get any real change, real long lasting, profound change at all, unless there is a threshold shift. There has to be, at some point, there has to be this breaking of the dam, and this new the new floods through you, and you're playing your computer game on the next level, if you want to call it that. You've unlocked you've unlocked the next level. And in the computer games, this is really the way it works. So you have your beginner's level and you have your challenges there, and if you successfully solve them, then all of a sudden, boom, it's like a stargate or a portal opens, and you're on this new level. And on this new level, of course, there's going to be new challenges, but it's also super exciting to find out what there is. It's kind of cool. I love it. So yeah, and this is what we really seek in learning. This is really what we seek in learning, in the widest metaphorical sense. And I'm not talking about book learning here, sitting and studying in a library or necessarily, but actually, as I'm saying this can be a part of it. It's like we are, when we are engaging in this adventure of learning of anything, learning anything, we're seeking a threshold shift. We are seeking that moment when something clicks together and you're going, oh, yes. And then all of a sudden you're on a different level. That's what we're looking for. Like a detective is looking for clues, we are looking for these special clues that are guiding us personally through our own incarnations. And the learning is a part of that. The learning process is a part of that. And I just absolutely love that. Just for interest's sake, is there something that you find really interesting at the moment that you would like to learn more about, to take, and the reason that you want to learn more about, and I think that's important, is because you want to taking this to a next level, whatever it is. It could be literally anything. Like, let's say you're learning how to knit and you can do a scarf, but if you knew a little more or you understood something fundamental, then you could take your knitting to a whole new level. And instead of just knitting scarves, you could actually knit jumpers and hats and possibly even gloves or toys for the children. It would just go to a whole new level. Yeah, it could be, as I say, could be anything. Could be anything. Could be studying philosophy. Could be making art, making magic art that creates change in the world, which is kind of, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what it is. Martin says, I love learning a new technique for turning so I can make something different. Yes, that's right. And it's exciting. And there is this other step beyond the learning. That's the thing. And thank you for bringing that up with a nice solid example of how that works is that we are not learning just because we enjoy learning. Although some of us do, I do. Personally, I love it. I love things streaming into me and changing me and the ideas and all of that. But really, all the things we're wanting to learn, they have at the end of it some kind of an outcome. It's trying to achieve something, trying to create something. We're trying to create something. There is a reason behind the learning. Yeah, thank you for that, Martin. That was a good example. Wood turning. Okay. See, magic art that creates change in the world. Yes, I think that's what art is for. That is something that I've been trying to learn about, and and the reason that we're talking about change and so on, and learning and the love of learning, is because I had a massive threshold shift this week with my place-based painting. That literally took my abilities, my effectiveness, my possibilities as an artist to a whole new level. And it did. It just, I could feel it, I could know it, I knew I'd understood something, and it was like this threshold shift. The threshold shift that we're seeking in learning. And those threshold shifts, of course, are star experiences and star events. We got here. Lorna's saying, I would like to draw, paint, and write better. Okay. Is that sort of something to, yeah. See, interesting thing to think about is what is the end outcome of it. I mean, if we go back to the love of learning and the joy of discovery and exploration, and to really widen that out. And when we're thinking in terms of learning, not to be immediately thinking of students sitting in a class in rows, or people with books, or people in a library and studying, there's a lot of negative sort of energy around this whole thing of cramming and studying and having to knock these horrible things that you would never engage with. If anybody gave you the tiniest amount of free will, you'd never do that. Beating your poor brain with a hammer, really. It's just crazy, isn't it? I mean, duh. Yes, so. The whole rediscovering the joy of learning, of exploration, of this real childlike joy of it's a beautiful summer morning and you had your breakfast, and I don't know, you're taking a jar out into the field to see what you're gonna find that day. That sort of open, free, delicious exploration that creates this free space that oh yes. Ilka Vandal had a lovely experience, and she said that she had a sort of a star experience with the idea that you don't have to know things. I don't know this. And when you're saying this, I don't know this, that the minute you're saying that, I don't know this, it opens up this space in front of you of going out and finding more knowledge, or finding these clues, finding these pieces in your incarnation. It's just awesome. I love it. Absolutely love it. Yeah, so where are we going with this morning? Oh, I don't know. I'm just chatting about the joy of learning. And this is something I think if we engage in that, obviously it's going to be good for our minds, it's going to be good for our bodies, it's going to be good for our energy system. It has this forward movement. that especially as an older person, or as a younger person, if you're really depressed as well, this forward movement that spins up the energy system and then spins up the physical body and gives, brings this forward movement into our incarnation, especially at this strange time that we are in. I said this the other day, that I feel that people have been on pause for the last 2 years. They've been on pause, on holiday, a strange holiday to be sure, scary, but they've kind of been on pause, and it's been very difficult to come up with some kind of plan for the future, because everything's in turmoil, especially if you're still working. But even if you're not, it's very strange what's going on at the moment. And to predict the future at the moment is quite a trick. However, the learning is, I think, a perfect, the voyages of discovery of learning is kind of a perfect antidote to a lot of that. So, because that brings back excitement and interest and engages our minds in a positive way. And I just love that. I love that. Absolutely love it. Ah, my dear, dear people, are you thinking about things you'd like to learn more about? How to know more about them? How to do them practically better? How to discover more about them? And that, oh yeah, and there we go to how do you know what you want to learn? And that's one of my favorite topics, the fascinations. The fascinations. I love the fascinations. What's a fascination? Oh, a fascination is when one day you're going around and the day is boring, and then you see or hear or feel or you think something, and all of a sudden you light up. Oh my God, what is this? What's going on? What can I do with that? What? The fascination, something that fascinates you. And I just love that, because to me, my fascinations are the compass that guides me to my next threshold shift. Ah, good morning, Ilka. Hello there. I was talking about you earlier. And good morning, Ruud, as well. Lovely that you're here. Yeah, the fascinations is what guides you. And if you lose, I believe if you lose your fascinations through depression or illness or just stress, if you lose your fascinations, you're losing the compass, the huge compass that is guiding your incarnation through the ups and downs and, weirdnesses of an actual lived physical life with lots of other human beings, many of which are very weird as well, and in weird situations. Ah, yeah. So fascinations. Knowing the fascinations, following them, following the fascinations, not making them go away, not saying, like, let's say, for example, I all of a sudden got super fascinated with tardigrades, right? These are tiny little microscopic animals that are very much in vogue at the moment. And for some reason, my dear energy mind sent me a tardigrade just now. So let's say I become fascinated with tardigrades. What we must never do, never ever do, and this was probably the bane of my childhood, this is why I'm still doing this to this day, is to say tardigrades are not going to put any food on the table. Tardigrades are not going to help you solve the problems of humanity. Tardigrades are a waste of time. They are just being irresponsible. They're not doing the work that you're supposed to be doing. So I don't want to hear another thing about tardigrades ever again and get back into the cabbage fields. And that's really unfortunate, but I know this goes on in literally every muggle family in the world, isn't it? It's that children are fascinated with something, whatever it is, whether it's dust or snakes or spiders or whatever it may be. And then the adults pile in with back into the cabbage fields. You will never be able to pay your bills with your stupid fascination with tardigrades. But what these people don't understand, and it's understandable if they're stressed and they're always worried about survival, but what they don't understand is that the fascinations are these guiding devices. I must do a giant compass symbol painting at one point, symbol hybrid. They're these guiding devices that take you to the next step. See, it might not be the tardigrade. It might be as I'm going to check out a video or a book on tardigrades, I come across something else, and that something else leads to something else. If we don't follow our fascinations, if we don't follow our fascinations, I honestly believe we're going to get lost in the general weirdness of unconscious human existence. And I really don't want to get, I really, really don't want to lose the magic or lose the thread, this golden thread that weaves through our incarnations. Well, in my case, probably a silver holographic thread looking there at my backgrounds. But yeah, what are you fascinated with right now? Let me know in the comments. What are you fascinated with right now? Really fascinated. And when you're not at work and when you're not doing hard work and personal development and meditation and da 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 da, when you're not doing any of that, your thought keeps drifting to that. Oh, I'm fascinated by that. Fascinated. uh, Somebody just commented, I'm fascinated by tardigrades as well. That's quite funny. Okay. I have a response. Wee. Writing stories and painting. Fascinated by it. Really wanting to go there and not work in the cabbage fields, which is, yeah. The older I'm getting, the more I understand, how important it is to follow your fascinations. To first of all, be aware what they are. And see, I believe there's a lot of people don't even know what their fascinations are. They sort of act them out, or perhaps they don't act them out because that's just silly, or stupid, or I shouldn't be thinking about that. I shouldn't be fascinated by that. And I think a lot is lost when that happens. First step, as always, know your own fascinations. What are you really fascinated with? And tell you one thing I'm fascinated with is the holographic foils and dichroic iridescence. I am fascinated with and by iridescence and the effect that has on my neurology. It's like catnip to me in some way. It does something to my neurology, my physicality. It does something to my energy body. Fascinated by it. And so I'm building dichroics into everything here at the moment. And I'm following my fascination. It's possible that I'm fascinated because they're like otherworldly lights, or that's the kind of light, this iridescence is the kind of light you get in the other dimensions, in the dimensions of the light. Let's have a look. Beer says, creating things on Canva, playing with colors and photos. Excellent. Follow your fascination. And the nice thing is, as you're playing, and I find this also with everything, I'm like with this, find it totally with this. As you're playing with that and interacting with that which fascinates you, new little avenues of discovery become apparent that would not have become apparent if you hadn't done this. So I'm finding that really quite fascinating. Fascinating. A study on fascination. Now that would be fascinating. Francesca. Good morning, Francesca. I'm fascinated with the wind, the carefree and light-hearted. Awesome. Yeah. With um I don't believe you can do real powerful magic without it being light. Light-hearted, light-filled, high vibrations. And you can't get there with dourness and sadness and misery and scariness. So I'm 100% on board with that. Being fascinated by the light itself. Oops. This might be that these dichroic iridescences are the closest representation that I have been able to find in physical reality for the light itself. And so, I've learned something about my fascination. What we got here? Ruth says, I'm fascinated by jabbering, singing in a fantasy language. Okay. I'd rather you not call that jabbering. It sounds so disrespectful. It sounds so disrespectful to that magical process of giving voice to thoughts, feelings, and emotions without having to put words on it. I don't know if it's a technical term, but you could just call it singing or primal singing. Yeah, just giving voice to things. I think that's very fascinating too. I'm super fascinated by noises and sounds. I can get lost in a supermarket, picking up everything and shaking it and tapping it and listening to it, listening to objects. Love it. What have we got here? Mother of pearl light may be flowing. Ah, beautiful. Yes. Barbara. What's Barbara got to say? Fascinated with the black sparkles in my playing picture. Play space. It's called play space. It's it's a black background with holographic sparkles on it. So the black is black and the sparkles, they sparkle. See what Lorna says. I'm fascinated about writing, how to illustrate books. It's in my mind all the time. Aha! Yes. I could be cooking and suddenly I have these images of my characters, at which point you turn off the cooker and you rush forth and you put down your characters, and then you have done a very grown up, very adult thing, which is that you have followed your fascinations, but you've also proven to yourself, to your dear energy mind and the powers that be, and anybody in your household, that you're taking your fascinations actually seriously. You know, if we keep hiding them under the bushel or hiding them at the end of the day, or, doing all the work first, we must do the work. Oh, God. That's to me, that's the voices of the demons from hell, that is. Ruud, I'm fascinated by language. Yes. It's a good thing to be fascinated by. It's fascinating. Very fascinating. And I think by doing the sounds, the primal sounds, That's a very good way of juxtapositioning to the spoken language. It's a interesting combination. It's valuable. I really do. Marianne, what's just Marianne saying? Absolutely fascinated by music. Hmm. See, if you really want to play the piano, if you really want to play the piano, why do you need to learn how to play it first? Why do you need to go through that first? Just get yourself a piano or piano application and play with it. Play with it. Have some fun with it. If you then at some point decide you need to become this great concert pianist and play dead people's music, do it. By all means, if that's the way your fascination goes. But just get yourself a little keyboard and play some music. Play some music before you send yourself into some kind of school for piano playing. Yeah, am I making sense here? A lot of people like, oh, I wish I'd learned to play the violin. Just get yourself a violin and scratch on it. Have some fun with it. Do something with it. And then if that desire grows to play what the dead people have played and written down in notes and play that again, if the desire of that grows in you, then by all means go ahead and, study the violin. But in the meantime, and unless you're planning to become a concert pianist, just get yourself one of those damn things and sit in a corner and play with it and find out what happens next. See, I don't. There's this other thing that the sort of society does to you. It railroads you into these enormous things. Like, so if I say as a child, I want to learn to play the violin, what happens there? Oh my God, you've got to get a teacher. You've got to get the right violin. You've got to blah, blah, blah. You've got to go to loads of classes and forward to music academy. And then you have to spend the rest of your life in some orchestra. And this whole massive, falls on this poor little child that just thought it might be neat to make some cat noises. I don't know. And we need to detach that again, the fascinations from some kind of 30-year long-term plan. No, just do it. As you're playing with the violin, it might just happen that at some point you think, oh God, that really hurts my ears. I don't want that. Let me try a harp. And then try a harp. It might end up that for some past life reason you always wanted to play a lyra. Who knows? And that brings something. We don't have to by saying, oh, I'd like to learn to paint. You do not have to commit yourself to a 30-year slog of misery. Just get some paints and chuck them on the wall and see what happens next. That's what I mean by following our fascinations. To just have some fun with it. You don't have to become anything just because you got yourself a paint box and some canvases. You're just playing. The freedom of that. It's beautiful. Beautiful. Okay. Here we go. Learning to play is the key. Yes, play. I remember this one person, I always mention that because it's so funny. They weren't playing the piano, they were working it. I know how that happens, all the lessons and the wrapped knuckles with the ruler and, having to play in time and all those things. And yeah, if that's what you want to do, if that's what fascinates you, please, I don't want to dissuade you from it. Go for it. But for 99% of people who say things like, oh, I wish I'd learned to play the violin, just play with the violin and find out if you really want to invest 30 years in that. Or if the short playing of the violin for that short period of time was just some stepstone to something else. We don't know unless we try. I encourage the playing with the fascinations. Ah, cool. Oh, I got here. I did this with my daughter. She went from piano to violin and settled on drums. Yay! Well, it is. It's a it's a long road. Could be a convoluted path. Who knows? Perfect. Well done, Bear. Absolutely. Ah, and that's what I want to do longer or want to do more of. See, this is another thing. You railroading people in because they said they like to play the violin, railroading them into 10, 20, 30 years of study. They might completely miss the one thing that would have really made them happy, like playing the drums. That's the other thing with the fascinations. I think, it might be fun to go back and ask the aspects who were stopped from following a fascination and let them do some in sanctuary or something. Ah, Martin says, I didn't learn how to wood turn. I simply decided I want to have a go. That's the thing. Bought a cheap lathe and some chisels. And I found it that I liked it and progressed from there. Yes, that's right. Just give it a go. Don't make a mountain out of a molehill, is what I'm saying, especially those who are wanting to, I want to do more art or I want to do more writing. And don't let this mountain of madness fall on your head where all of a sudden you have to be a published author with oh, God Almighty, just or anybody else even reading what you're writing. You don't have to do that. Just write something. Woohoo! What am I going to write today? I had a wonderful phase between 2003 and 2006 where I used to get up every morning and write a poem or a hypnodream. Got really good at it. It was awesome. Absolutely fascinated by it. Loved it. It was awesome. But again, we want many more fascinations and we want to do that quicker rather than spending 30 years on one thing that we might not have even wanted. Speed it up, speed up the evolution. Have more than one incarnation in one lifetime and know that that's perfectly okay. It's good. It's good to evolve. It is good to evolve. And, technology speeds up, all these things speed up. Our in-life incarnations can speed up too, and I like that. I'll go here. Barbara, with being the curator of an art museum. Well, yes, that's the easiest way to do it. The bank always wins. You put up an art museum, you are the creator, and you are the curator, and you put all your art in it as well. Beautiful. Love it. Reality creation 101. It's fascinating to write in my book of stars. Oh, good. The book of stars is a fascinating object. It can be quite spooky and quite scary because how did we end up all of a sudden ending up with a real magic book? A real magic book. Not some Harry Potter nonsense. A book of magic. Huh. How on earth did that happen? But it did happen. We got one. And I think we should be fascinated by it too. Absolutely. There's this person on television, they always say, if you can't love yourself, how are you going to love anyone else? And, it's just one of those things. It's okay to be fascinated by yourself as well. I think I'd like to close with that. It is perfectly, not just perfectly okay to be fascinated by yourself, by your past, by your future, by your creations, by your relationships, by your knowledge, by your wisdom, by your experience, by everything about you. It is not just all right to be fascinated by your own hands, by your face, by your eyes, by what your ears can hear. I think that's the 101. If you can't be fascinated by yourself, how the hell are you going to be fascinated by anyone or anything else? So, in my wonderful position as me being Sylvia, I am giving you permission now to become utterly fascinated by yourself and have that be healthy, and have that be good, and have that be one, oh, the most important step on really loving yourself. But more than that, actually understanding yourself and being on your own side, and not, not doing some sort of, I was going to say Heimlich maneuver. Ah, okay, guys, that was fun. Absolutely fun. Please, please treasure your fascinations. I believe that being fascinated by something is a learnable process. It's transferable. That the more we allow ourselves to be fascinated by something, whatever it may be, I'm just picking up this egg again, so I've got an object to hold in my hand. If you can learn how to be fascinated by things, oh, you'll always be fascinated, won't you? And in that interaction, in that sort of loving interaction with the object or the thing or the person, there's always something new to learn. The universe is endless in information, in energy. It's wonderful. It's a wonderful thing. And I think to be fascinated by things is so positive, so beneficial. I mean, a lot of people out there, they're preaching gratitude. I would love to preach fascination instead. Fascination. Find your fascinations. And for the people who are depressed and sort of stressed and lose that connection, the most fascinating things, the things that fascinate you the most, have the most power to re-inspire you, to reignite you, and to re-uplift you, and to spin your energy system back up so that you can actually do something with your life, something positive, something nice. Ah, cool. Oh, Ruth says thank you. Oh, I'm glad. I'm glad. I'm glad if it jumps across, and then you can pass it on to someone else and it jumps across. It's a good thing to be fascinated by. Very good thing to be fascinated by. Ah, Lorna, what a good feeling. Ah, lots and lots of love to you too. You are a very fascinating lady, may I say. I've always thought that. It's Marianne saying. Thank you for reminding me. I'm looking for joy and fun, not for new kind of hard work and study. Exactly. Exactly. We've been there. We've done that. We don't need to do that anymore. We're adults now. We can buy a box of paints and play with them. And there's no one stopping us making a mess. We get to clean it up ourselves if we make one. There's nobody bitching and moaning, getting in the way anymore. And like Bear said with her daughter, started off with piano, didn't like it, moved to violin, didn't like it, ended up with drums. Woohoo! Love it. And there, now you can then put study in it if you want, but it's not study or hard work then, is it? If you'd found that thing that you absolutely love. Always fascinates me. Fascinates me that these people are clambering up Mount Everest and they think it's fun. It's just not my cup of tea, but something for everybody out there. Yeah, this is very true. If you enjoy doing something, it's no longer work, exactly. And if it is work, then clearly something needs to be done about it, because I'm through with that kind of thing. I don't believe in it. Don't believe it. I believe in living a life, a meaningful life. And that cannot happen unless we are guided by our fascinations, so that we have our own personal adventures with this life. And then when this life comes to an end, we can say, my God, that was an adventure. That was amazing. Wow. Thank you. So blessed to have been here. My dearly beloved friends, I'm going to wish you a wonderful Easter Sunday. I'm going to wish you a wonderful day and night wherever you are in time and space, or anywhere in between. I'm going to wish you to become hyper aware of your own fascinations and let yourself be fascinated by many things, because, we don't have to spend 30 years on something just because we like it. We don't. We can have fun and move on, which is super. Thank you so much for having been here with me today. Lots and lots of love to you. And I'm super looking forward to seeing you again next week for Sunday Live with Ovia. Lots of love. And from me and my egg-shaped charm and my play space and my science symbol painting. Bye-bye for now and lots of love to you. Bye for now.